The Bible here says that Jesus' mother, Mary, was betrothed to Joseph before they came together. But then when you read verse 19, the Bible calls Joseph the husband to Mary. And if you go to Deuteronomy and study the laws of marriage, then you discover that in the culture of the Jews, girls didn't have a say when it came to engagement or betrothal. If a man wanted to marry a girl, what they would do is they would go to the father and convince the father that they need to marry the girl without even talking to the girl. She had no say whatsoever. That's what used to happen. And there are few people that still practice that kind of thing today. So when you find sometimes fathers insisting that they must be the one to give the word, even if you have agreed out there, some of those traces of culture and tradition follow through. But then when you look at the entire scope of betrothal in the Old Testament, because remember, Mary and Joseph were Jews, and they were still within the Old Testament way of doing things and the Jewish culture. And so it would be a bit difficult for us to really copy and paste that particular thing. And you find that nowadays, some young brethren or Christians use this particular argument and say that when I'm already engaged to my girl, we are already married. And in fact, there are certain instances, once the negotiations are done and the parents have agreed, some brethren have actually decided I'm already married and that's it. And what we are waiting for is just a ceremony, and they even move in and begin to live as husband and wife. Now, for us Christians, I believe it's a little different, because we believe that marriage doesn't become marriage until it is consummated. And consummation needs to await what you call vows, because vows bring commitment and they bring accountability into the relationship. And so, what is marriage? Marriage, of course, is the real life itself. When you start living together as husband and wife, it is different from a wedding ceremony. A lot of young people spend too much time preparing for the wedding ceremony and not the marriage. Are you understanding me? I want to encourage you to put more effort to prepare for your marriage and not the wedding ceremony. The reason why marriages are having problems is some people, when they start courting and dating and getting engaged, they spend more time thinking about how big their wedding will be, what car will carry them, where they'll go for honeymoon, and they spend too much time. They forget that that's just a day. And they have a whole lifetime to live. So they never prepare for that. You must prepare for your marriage. It involves gaining a deep understanding of one's partner and ensuring that they are equally dedicated to God and to the union. This is the time you are beginning to see, is this man really serious with God? Is this girl serious with God? Is she serious with me? Is he serious with me? You begin to see things, because as you spend time together, you begin to see some strange things, isn't it? You go for a date, and it is late at night, and he wants you to walk alone through a bush back home. And you begin to wonder what has happened. He is not worried that you could be attacked by either a wild animal, depending on where you live. If you live in Rongai, there are lions, okay? Or you just see some carelessness. You go to a restaurant, you eat, and the guy pretends he's going to the toilet and doesn't come back until you pay. Now, when you begin to see those kind of things, you begin to get concerned. And those are issues that need to be addressed. Let me tell you something, by the way, young people. And here I'm talking to you as an experienced old man. When you see red flags in someone, even if you're engaged, don't ignore them. If the girl you're engaged to has temper tantrums, don't cover that under that cloud of love. Love covers a multitude of sins. I'm telling you, that sin will bother you. Address it at that point. Mwambie hata ukikasirika kuna Roho Mtakatifu. Galatians 5:22, the fruit of the Spirit. My sister, you can't throw a plate in the restaurant when we are together. This will not happen. You either get saved or we end this thing here. Atavunja masahani yote nyumbani ukimwoa. Same with the man. If he is an angry man, a little small thing, he is breathing like a buffalo. He is going to kill you in the house. Tell him, brother, what happened to the Jesus who lives in you? Address the issue. That's why you're engaged and relating. You get closer. Engagement allows you to get moments of vulnerability so that you know, who am I getting involved with? Some of you pretend you don't really engage on issues. The day you get married is when you realize, who did I marry? And it is already too late. Too late. So you need to meet a little often so that if a guy doesn't shower, you know this guy doesn't shower. We need to deal with this. Otherwise, you just tell him, but all these days I've been meeting, I never used to shower. There's nothing you do. So that's preparation for the marriage. Things that relate to the marriage. Your own spiritual lives. See, the guy is not serious with prayer. He's not serious with Bible study. He's not serious with church. He's disrespectful. When you meet with the elderly people, you go to a restaurant, he's shouting at the waiters there. Those are red flags. And those are the things you begin to deal with. Otherwise, if you think they will end after marriage, you are in for a great shock. That's when they amplify. Because someone has already heard you, like the young people say, uko kwa box already. Huwezi toka. Na ukitoka kuna consequences. Okay? So, it's a time for preparation, but also you need to prepare for the wedding ceremony. We'll be talking about the wedding ceremony later, so I won't spend too much time. But let me just say that it is important during this time to agree the kind of wedding ceremony that you will hold. You need to be in agreement. What kind of ceremony will you have? And here, again, when I talk about this, I'll be very general because we cannot dictate. But if you talk to most of us who got married, we will tell you that if we had a second chance, we would do something different. Most of us will tell you, we would not have spent the money we did. But now, since when we tell you that you don't hear, just go ahead and do what you need to do. Okay? Finally, number 3. I told you this would be brief. Key aspect, number 3 of Christian engagement, it requires community support. That's why I'm telling you, it needs to be public. Because if there's a time you need community support, it is now. When I talk about community, I'm talking about parents. My own proposition is, please, if you're a girl, don't accept to be engaged or don't allow a man to engage you if your parents have not met the young man. And the young men, don't accept to engage somebody's daughter if you have not met their parents. This is now, like Paul would say, this is me, not the Lord. If you want, you can go ahead and do it. But personally, I would be very offended. This is Bishop Mwalili now. If I had a daughter whom I know I would love too much, if she came home and she's wearing a diamond ring, and I've never seen the guy who has put that diamond ring, I think I would swallow it. Is why you're onekana tena. A ring can't kill me, isn't it? I just swallow it and say, go and tell him to come and see me. It's just me. Maybe you're different. But I'm imagining this girl gets committed to something so serious that I have no idea about. And I'm not saying this so that I choose for her. Remember, I'm very constant. I'm saying nobody should choose a spouse for another. Not in this era. At least that's how we agree. If you want, you can allow your father to choose a husband for you, but it won't be nice. Okay? But it's just good to see so that at least I begin to deal with what I consider to be disappointments, at least, even if they are misplaced. And parents have a right, no matter how they feel. Most of you, if I was to ask you how your parents-in-law reacted when they first saw you, those who are bold enough, it wasn't nice. When Dr. Ann took me to her mom, and I'm not saying this to disrespect my mom, by the time she died, I loved her, and she loved me dearly, because we connected. She just looked at me and wrote me off, and I could understand. I needed to be written off, because I didn't measure up. I was just a young man, still, straight from university, and still struggling to find my footing. And then I go to a family and I'm pretending I want to pick somebody's daughter. And they just look at me, they're thinking, this is in Madarawi. How can you? And I sat there and I took it all in because I love the daughter. And of course, God is so gracious because, nobody sees the future, isn't it? But it's good to give your parents the opportunity to deal with the change. Let them deal with it. This is the one, whether you like it, him or not. And we were almost stopped from getting married. It became very difficult. And at some point we decided, do we just call it off? Or what do we do? Or do we just go and tell our pastor to join us so that my brother-in-law told the sister, why don't you go to bed with Mwalili after you get a baby, then munaweza kurudi hapa. And you get all kinds of advices, isn't it? But you understand, I don't blame them. Because community involvement is important. Even us here, some of you, when you hear so-and-so is engaged with so-and-so, you say, then you deal with your shock, and then you accept. It's normal. We need to know. Because it's a way we think. There's a way we think who should marry who. But that's beyond us. So, we require community support. And the first community that we really need is a parental support. I personally believe it is very important. It helps to honor your marriage when you take, a young man to your parents and they receive him. They may have their own misgivings. Of course, if they are depending on their personality, they will pretend to like the young man, but once he leaves, they will sit down with you and they will talk to you, but you will know how to manage that, isn't it? But those who are bored, like my mother-in-law, will not just keep quiet. They will just tell you, my friend, can you do something better? Right? And you must be gracious enough, isn't it? You must have an open heart. And that's how life is. Because you need to know this is somebody's daughter. This is not, even if it was an animal you are going to get, they would also defend it, isn't it? But this is a child they have raised. So you can't just take things lightly like that. Dr. Mulaji, am I talking for you? Yes. So Angie must bring that fellow and say, Daddy, this is my friend. And the day a girl brings a boy and say, this is my friend, this is not an ordinary friend. Naturally, they will come like 3 or 4 together and they just eat there and they go away. But when one comes and there is no other, then hapa iko nini? Iko kitu. Yeah, I remember the day I went for that visit. We arrived late. It had rained. That road to Makueni had never been tarmacked. So we got home very late. And the only reason why someone would do that is because it's much more than just an ordinary friend visit. And the mother knew iko kitu hapa. Of course, the rest is history. Situko hapa. Na Mungu amekuwa mwaminifu. So you need to know that during engagement, you require community support, you need family support, you need the church. The church needs to support you because we are here with you, especially if both of you happen to be in the same church or in different churches. We are here for you. We pray with you. People will be counseling you. Friends also provide strong support, and also network, so that you are mentored, you are guided. Also, you are accountable, and you also begin to prepare for resource mobilization, especially now when preparing for weddings has become a community affair. People raise funds depending on your convictions. There are people who don't believe in that. They will organize their wedding. If you want to chip in something, well and good. But most of you naturally want to call your friends. So you can imagine if you have kept us away and then you only tell us when it is a few weeks to go, we feel cheated. You didn't want us to know you have something, but you want our money. Apana. It's not fair. Sindio? Yeah. It's only fair that you do that. So, it's important for you to know, we read this scripture, Proverbs 15:22, without counsel, plans go astray, but in a multitude of counselors, they're established. Okay? We need to have people that talk to us. It is during engagement where you really need people to talk to you. I remember Dr. Ann and I spend a lot of time with people. Our SU patron, we had friends, we visited married couples, and they really talked to us. They encouraged us. They dropped wisdom in our spirits. All this is preparing the foundation so that our marriage can hold. One of the reasons why marriages today are failing, because there's very little counsel. And the counsel people are getting is not good. You find a young girl is getting married, and the counselor is a girl who is not married. What is he telling you? Or you find a young man getting married, and the guy who is counseling him is not even married. He's actually 45 years old and doesn't still have a wife. And he's counseling you. I mean, how can he lead you where he's not been? He cannot. So we need to do that. So parents feel honored when you involve them and respected. Friends feel involved, and the society feels acknowledged. So parents need to feel honored. There is nothing great like honoring your parents by ensuring that you don't get into a serious commitment without their knowledge. It just shows you respect them, you honor them, and you also allow your father particularly, because remember, every girl before they are married, they are under the government and the authority of the father. That's important. It's a God-given design. And so for you to step out, he needs to know so that he is careful to release you into a safe environment. Fathers feel very insecure when they don't know where their daughters are going. And one of the easiest way of breaking the heart of a father is to put their daughter in a space where the father is not sure how they are. He may not say. That's why if you check most fathers, when their daughters are getting married, they weep. Because they are just wondering, will this man take care of my daughter the way I did? So please, young men who are here, understand one day you will be a father. So if you don't want to be treated the way you have treated your father-in-law, please treat that man with respect. Even if he says no, don't worry. Come call us, we'll take you. And this is the other thing. When you're going for engagement, please don't just take boys with you. That's the other problem you are making. You are a boy, then unaona Chicha na John eti ndio wanaenda pamoja. If you come to me and I have a daughter, I'll chase both of you because you're not serious. Bring me an elder, someone I can engage with. Unatuma mzee anaongea kwa niaba yako. You can't talk to me at that level. I am the father to your wife to be. I need some respect. So some of you go there, say, mzee nimekuja hapa. Umekuja hapa kufanya nini? Pana. That's why we have elders in this church. Akina Charles Kilonzo wako hapa, kina mzee Kuria wako hapa, wazee wengi hapa, CK wako hapa, wazee wako hapa wamejaa. Sasa wewe unajikusanya unaenda na vijana huko. Then you become an embarrassment to a family. You can't do that. Unatuma wazee so that they talk on your behalf. So when a mzee sees another mzee, anajua this young man is wise. He respects, he understands I'm not at his level. So that's why some of you have gone and unaambiwa enda ukatume wazee. Unapewa tu chakula hapo, unakula na unaambiwa urudi. Go back. Bwana asifiwe sana. Am I helping anyone here? So what are some of the practical steps that we need to have during engagement? Number one, please seek counsel. These are things I keep repeating. Seek counsel. Usually during dating, courtship and engagement, there's a lot of counsel, just as much as after wedding. Number two, maintain purity. This one we have said. Please maintain purity. Again, remember, at engagement, the distance is shorter and people trust you because now people know you are relating. So when we see you together, we don't have many questions. So right now, at this point, you're on your own. Finally, number three, I've already overshot, but I must say this. Maintain your singleness. Now that I need to explain. Even at engagement, remember, you are still not one. And there's a foolishness I see. Your engagement is not legally binding. It is more symbolic and emotional. Remember that. It can be broken without legal consequences. But it will have emotional consequences. So what do you do? By being single, minimize the gravity of consequences in the unlikely event of a broken engagement.